our direct connection to the African spirit and way, and we distinguish between elders and those who are simply older, because menticide has driven some of us into a treasonous arrogance. Those who are truly elders are our seasoned visionaries. They are our proven warrior servant workers. They are those who uncompromisingly speak to what needs to be done, and this is a life of revolutionary sovereignty seeking experience. We hold our vision closer to their hearts because they are us on the horizon of return.
Put your lighters up high, wave around side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put your lighters up high, wave around side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. Yo, I wonder if we seen the elders rise from the grave and they seen us today. What would they say? Envision as you see my words glide from the page. I imagine they would be so ashamed of our ways. We in the same position, maybe because we ain't listen. Do we like the discipline for the tunes they was spitting? Or maybe this was karma because we ain't show them honor. Word to Dr. Ben, we should have held them down stronger. Call it how I see it, maybe that was signs from Jesus. A metaphor on how we gon' treat our own leaders. They came here to teach us and we cheered from the bleachers. And when it's time to ride, we turn our backs when they need us. We pour libations, but we form our own nation. I pray we wake up and see the time we was wasting. We even seen Eliza lay the blueprint for black power. Peace to the scholars like Dr. Wilson and Tony Brown. To light us up high, wave around side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put the lighters up high, wave around side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. If you can hear this, throw your fist in the air. We gon' do this for our family that's here. Yo, this is the hour of celebration for black power. To all the soldiers and scholars, giving their flowers. The frontliners like Jabari and the soul vibers. They rep Tubman City, they set the bar higher. And them brothers like KT, the arts degree, they gon' carry on the legacy of Dr. Saber. Peace to Risen Islam and Brother Ben. With youth like them, we can end our own suffering. Break the curse of Willie Lynch with Charles S. Finch. Professor Small, take us back to the essence. I pay homage to Carlos Muhammad and Dr. Maat, torchbearers that kept it honest. The light is up high, wave around side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put the lighters up high, wave around side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. My energy and my thoughts is like John Clark.
Now I see the Maat and family in the building. Peace up. What up?
Still on this marathon like Farrakhan.
Peace to everyone under the sound of my voice. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Got an army of riders taught by Elijah.
The Queen Mothers are in the building. I see you.
It's how we start this evolution. Patricia Newton.
All right, family. So tonight you see the title, The Most Ungrateful Generation Yet, family. Take a moment out, thumb up the video, share, share, share. Let's get the views up, family. Let's get the views up. Let's get the folks in the house. Tonight we going all the way in, and then I'm going to drop the link in the chat so that you all can join me. If you want to jump on the panel and you have something that you need to say, right? So I'm going to get it off my chest, and then I'm going to let you get it off yours. And I see one of my students in the building, one of my MSU students. I see you, Miss Collins. She said, "Good evening, Dr. Bailey." I see you, Miss Collins. Proud of you, girlie. I graded your final. You know, I can't say it live on the air what your grade is, but you saw it on canvas, and I'm super duper proud of you, Miss Collins. So thank you for joining us tonight. I see brother CJ Young is in the building. What up to you, brother CJ Young? Peace and power to you. Sister Juju is in the building. The Queen Mother. Juju is in the building. I see another Queen Mother, a beautiful mind. She's in the building. Peace and love to you. I see Betty 6X is in the building. Peace and love to you. Another Queen Mother, Lady Low Love, is in the building. I see Mind Elevation TV is in the building. Peace and love to your family. The goddess Yemaya is in the building. I see Dr. Craig Samuels in the building. Wishing you healing energy, Doc. Wishing you healing energy, Doc. Let me know if you're home. Tell me in the chat if they released you, if you're home. Sending you love and healing energy, Dr. Craig. I see Baba Gregory's in the building. Peace and love to you, Baba. Hotep, Baba. Baba, we're going to get it in tomorrow. The last discussion of They Were Her Property, the last chapter. We'll be discussing that tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Baba. So that'll be one book down out of the 4 for this year. So peace and love to you, Baba. Peace and love to you. All right, family. All right, share the show, thumb up the show. Let's get the views up. You know how the YouTube algorithm works. The more you engage with the video, the more that it circulates on the feeds of the people. All right. And we want to get this information out. And this is not really a discussion of bashing. I don't want you all to feel like I'm getting ready to bash our children. Our children are doing some great things. There's some Black youth are doing some marvelous things. And I've had the opportunity to instruct a lot of them. Even one of them, she's in the chat, Miss Collins. And so, you know, there are some Black youth that are very respectful. Some youth that are operating with good morals, healthy morals and values. They respect their elders, and they do what they're told. They go to school and, you know, and do all the things that we expect our young people to do and be. So I don't want you all to think that, you know, that I'm getting ready to just pound on the young people, right? That's not what this is about. But this is about a discussion of, accountability, conviction, I would say, and accountability. And you may say, well, Dr. Maat, where is all of this stuff coming from? For the past year, I've been bombarded with stories about young people and how young people are forgetting their role and responsibilities to their families and communities. Okay. And this is not just, when I say bombarded with stories, this isn't just external stories. These are internal stories as well. Okay. And these are also things that I too have experienced. Hold on, let me adjust that. This is also things, family, that I have experienced as well. I see it in my family. So it's not, you know, I don't want you all to think that I'm throwing daggers, right, at your family, right, or your children. I see this within my family. Just the ungratefulness of young people. And I'm going to be honest with you, and you may say, every generation think they're the best generation, but I honestly feel like my cousin, he's 30. I think that generation that was maybe born in the early 90s, I think that probably was the last generation that we see with, I guess, stand-up values and morals. You kind of see that. And then if you get a little, you know, under 30 now, so those people who were born after 1993 and in the late 90s and early 2000s, you see the change in their morals. You see the change in their diet. I mean, not diet, change in their well, yeah, I could say that, their appetite, diet, and not diet as in what they're eating, but diet as in what they want to consume, right? You know, mentally, spiritually, and the things that they want to ingest. And so we do see a change, family. And what I've noticed is that in seeing this change, our young people have become ungrateful. They are ungrateful. I think that they have been coddled too much. We made the mistake in trying to give them everything that we didn't get. Can I get a check in the chat if you heard me? We made a mistake, family. We made a mistake. We wanted to give them everything that we didn't get, right? Everything we wish our parents would have given us. And what we did was coddle them to the point where they no longer respect their parents nor their elders. Can I see a check in the chat if you understand what I'm saying to you right now, family? If you understand what I'm saying. See, a lot of us have become their friends instead of their parents. You see it all the time on social media. You see it in the community. Hell, you see it in your family. We want to be their friend. Oh, I wish my mom and my dad was more like my friend. And so we become so buddy with this generation that now, family, that now they don't even respect us, right? They don't even view us as authority figures. You see children, I'm talking about black children, talking to their parents, disrespecting their parents. And I remember in the black community back in the day, we used to say, oh man, that's that white people. White people let their children disrespect them. Remember that? Oh, that's white. Them white kids, they disrespecting their parents because black parents didn't tolerate that foolishness back in the day. Remember, it was do what I tell you to do, or I'm gonna beat you in the submission. I'm gonna pop you upside your head. That's what it was back then. So black children didn't pull some of the stuff that white children pulled back in the day. But the stuff that the white children were pulling back in the day and the stuff that they're doing now, you see black children doing the same thing to their black parents. Not only are they disrespecting their parents, they're disrespecting other authority figures, right? Because if you don't respect your parents, you're not going to respect any authority figure. You're not going to respect the adults in your neighborhood, the adults at your church or your mosque or your spiritual center, the adults in school, the police officers. If you don't respect your parents, you're not going to respect anybody. And so that's what you see happening now. Because we were too buddy. I want to be Shaquisha's friend or little Ray Tyrone's friend. I want to be Tyrone's friend. And now you're Tyrone's friend to the point where Tyrone doesn't even respect you. Tyrone doesn't respect you. Tyrone doesn't respect grandma, grandpa, any other adult in your family. And then Tyrone goes out in the world and he disrespects everyone. Ungrateful. You got, like today, let me tell you what happened today. So today, a representative from a company came to talk to me. I had to sign some paperwork for some personal stuff. And while we were talking, she shared with me that she had a next door neighbor. It was an older gentleman who he used to come outside and he would sit down on his porch and he would talk to people in the neighborhood. Family. My grandmother, they all used to do it. We sit out on the porch and just talk, sit out on the porch and you talk to your neighbors and you talk to people up and down the street and people in the community. So anyway, he's up in age now and he fell in his house. And so as soon as he fell, the children came, they took him to a nursing home. Okay? Sold his car, and his house is up for sale right now. Ungrateful. And it's not just her telling me this. I can't put some names out because you all have put some 2 and 2 together. Somebody also shared with me today, and I know other people are watching, so I don't want to out it too much. But it was also brought to my attention that someone had passed. And and literally, and I've seen this, I've heard this in the past couple of weeks, people are passing, older people are passing, and then you got the children and the grandchildren showing up at the funeral, right? Showing up at the funeral, sitting in the pew, crying their little eyes out. But when grandma and grandpa was living, you didn't check on them. They didn't check on them, didn't take food. And I'm not just saying him, her too. Didn't check on grandma and grandpa, didn't take any food. Didn't take grandma and grandpa to their doctor's appointments. Didn't go visit grandma and grandpa in the hospital. And then they're sitting on the pew. They're sitting on the pew crying their little eyes out. But when grandpa and grandma was walking around here and they needed their help, the grandchildren are gone. And I'm talking about, I saw this in my family recently. I had an aunt who was on hospice. Her grandchildren didn't even go see her. Until I think the other grandchildren went down there to go see her. Ungrateful. And you say, well, Dr. Maat, why do you keep using this word ungrateful? I'm using this word ungrateful because these children have been poured into their entire lives. So we're not talking about throwaway children and somebody didn't want them and they were orphans. These are children who were born into a family structure, sent to school, provided with food, clothing, and shelter, provided with love. And when they got of age, they forgot. When they got of age, they forgot about their parents who poured into them for 20 some odd years. When they became of age, they forgot about their grandparents that poured into them. They forgot. This generation thinks that they are self-made. This generation thinks that they are a self-made generation. None of us are self-made. I had to remind my students, and Miss Collins can tell you, who's in the chat, I had to remind my students, I said, all of us are a product. All of us are a product. I don't even understand why in this English language, well, I do is the English language, and English people are individualistic, right? Why do you even have the damn word I? It's really no such thing as I. All it is we. I told my students that everything that you've ever been given have been given to you. Everything, including your genes. Look at your nose. Look at your complexion. Look at your eyes. Look at your mouth. Look at everything that you have. Everything that you have has been given to you, including your genetics. You are a product. You are a product of everything and everyone who poured into you. Your teachers, your parents, your family, your community. You are a product. So when you achieve something in life, it's not that you achieved something. It's not that you achieved anything. We achieved it. The village achieved it. My aunt is in the chat. Segment. I see my aunt Segment Purcell is in the chat. And my auntie will tell you, when I got on the day that I received my dissertation, the day that I received, I'm sorry, my doctorate, I said my dissertation, my doctorate in engineering, she'll tell you that when my family got together and we had a dinner, a celebration, I called my mother up to the front. I gave her a certificate and I handed over my dissertation to her and I said, thank you. Auntie, can you confirm that in the chat for the people? Auntie, can you confirm that in the chat for the people? When I got my DEng, my doctorate of engineering, on the day that they hooded me, it wasn't just a win for me. It was a win for my village. And I called my mother up to the front and I gave my mother a certificate of appreciation. And I gave her my dissertation. And see, so when you see these young people, when they winning in life, they forget. They think that they just did it. I'm telling you, in their minds, they think that they just did it. They think it's all them. It was all me. All you hear is me, 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 I. And so I had to remind, and one of my students, she's in the chat. She said, that's a fact, Doc. She'll tell you. I tell my students all the time, all of us are products. And to never forget those who poured into you and to understand the concept of reciprocity. So you get poured into. So when you become of age, what do? You pour back into. Let me say that again. I tell my young people to never forget the concept of reciprocity. When you are able, so you get poured into your entire life, your village, they're providing you with love, support, food, clothing, and shelter, right? Quality time, whatever. They're providing you with all of these things. And so when you become of age, then it is now your responsibility to pour back into your family, to be there for your parents in their time of need, to be there for your grandmother, your grandfather, the elders in your community, the elders in your church, the elders in your mosque, and whatever spiritual system that you subscribe to. It's your responsibility to pull back into those systems. But that's not what you see going on. These young people are ungrateful. Some of my students will tell you, I ask them all the time, I say, did you check in with your mom and your father, this week? And some of my students say, no, Doc, I haven't spoken to my father. I didn't speak to my father and my mom in weeks. I said, daggone, you've been in college for weeks and you didn't call home to check on your parents, or you didn't call, your grandparents? They said no. And I asked them this. I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do you call your friends? Oh, yeah, Doc, I do talk to my friends. You talk to your friends every day, don't you? Yeah, Doc, I talk to my friends every day. Oh, okay. You got a little boo thing? Yeah, Doc, I got a little boo thing. You text all the time? You talk to her every day? Yeah, I talk to her all the time. I text every day. You talk to him all the time? Yeah, I talk to him all the time. Doc. Oh, so now your friends your friends and your partners, your intimate partners or whatever, have now become a priority over your family. So I told them that speaks to your values. You value your friends and these little things over your family. No, I don't, Doc. No, I don't. I said, yes, you do. See, I said our behavior is rooted in our values. I want you to put a check in the chat if you heard what I just said. Our behavior is rooted in our values. I can tell what you value based on how you act. All I gotta do is just sit back. So when my students come to me, I'm trying to get an A in your class. I'm trying, Doc. Well, how many hours are you studying? I ain't really studying like that. Oh, you partying? Yeah, I'm partying. You playing a PlayStation? Yeah, I'm playing a PlayStation. Okay, then that's what you value. You really don't value this class. You value the party and the place. You value that stuff. Our behavior is rooted in what we value. So when I sit and I see these young people and you running behind this girl and that guy and you running behind your friends and you're not calling your parents and not calling your family and not doing that is what you value. That is what you value. And I don't want anybody in the chat to tell me, oh, Dr. Maat, Dr. Maat, they're young people. Because I hear that I don't want to curse because my auntie's watching, but you hear that excuse all the time. Well, they're young people. Hell, I was young once. I was 20 once. And my aunt will tell you, Auntie, let them know in the chat. Even when I was in college, I would go see my grandmother. And granted, I went to college in Baltimore City where my grandmother lives. But I know some people that'll be in college or be in cities where they have family and still won't go see their family. I would go see my grandmother almost every other day while I was in college. I would show up at family dinners despite partying and hanging out and who I was with at the time and doing what I was doing. I showed up for my family. I showed up for my community. So I don't want to hear, my aunt just said every day. She just said every day. I didn't get to college and say, oh, well, I'm with my friends now. I got my life. No, I would go past my grandmother's house and check on her and call her. So I don't want to hear, well, Dr. Maat, these are young people and this is what young people doing, because that's a BS excuse. There's no excuse. It speaks to that young person's character. It speaks to that young person's morals. It speaks to that young person's values. Thumb up the video, family. I see you all are coming in. Thumb up the video. You see, tonight we're talking about the most ungrateful generation yet. They're ungrateful. They're ungrateful. Just ungrateful. They forgot. They're very individualistic. And we were never like that. This is just showing me how we are off-centered. Family, make sure you grab this book right here by Baba Baruti. Okay? Grab this book right here by Baba Baruti. It's called Centered. And I think that I let someone hold my other book called Menticide. That's what you're seeing right now. Back in the day, we never treated our parents and our elders like that. Now we just throw them away. Your mother and your dad get sick, you throw them away. You throw them away. Nursing homes and all that stuff. That was European stuff. We would take care of our elders. We would take care of our parents. And now we just throw them away. We just throw them away. I got my life to live. That's an individualistic mindset. That's Euro thought and Euro behavior. Mental sidle Africans is what you see right now, family. We never threw our people away like that. We're off-centered. We're off-centered, family. We don't even operate with the same morals and values. In the black community, it seems like anything goes nowadays. It doesn't matter. You sit here and see elders get disrespected and walk past like you ain't see nothing. Sit there and see women and children get disrespected and walk past like you ain't see nothing. We're no longer operating with the same morals and values that we once had, which is telling me that we're moving closer and closer and closer to Eurocentric thought and behavior. Hell, we have become Europeanized, because that's the type of stuff that they do. Disrespect their elders, disrespect their parents, discard everybody because of this individualistic mindset that they have. And now we have it. Now we are infected with their nonsense, with their diseases, their psychopathologies. We're off-centered, family. And so these children are just ungrateful. I was talking to my auntie earlier today, and I was sharing with her, I was looking at some stories on social media. And this was celebrity gossip crap, but it kind of gives credence to what I'm sharing with you tonight. There was a Kirk Franklin. I don't know if you all remember this happening a while ago. His son called himself exposing him. And so his son apparently was disrespecting Kirk Franklin, right? And for those who don't know who Kirk Franklin is, he's like the guy, I call him the Puff Daddy of gospel music, right? The stomp, he was that guy, all my people say, so he was like the P. Diddy of gospel music. And so his son called himself exposing Kirk Franklin. So his son was disrespecting him, and he cursed his son out, called him all kinds of names, told him, I F you. I mean, you could tell that he was just tired of the disrespect. And so his son called himself exposing Kirk Franklin, but in exposing his father, he exposed himself, because everyone agreed with Kirk Franklin. We were saying, you're ungrateful. Look at you. He said it. He came out, said the son was coddled. He was entitled his entire life. Just ungrateful. Ungrateful. So you had that situation. Then you had another situation with Master P, his son Romeo, come out calling himself, exposing him. You ain't give me some money, and coming out exposing his so-called expose his father. Then you had Jermaine Dupri, a whole bunch of them. This generation is ungrateful. And these people that I'm naming, I'm talking about Kirk Franklin's son, Little Bow Wow, Little Romeo. These are children, young people who are in great positions today because of the people they call themselves exposing. But that doesn't matter, because this generation is ungrateful. They're ungrateful. Even in my family, one of my sons had the nerve to turn around and tell me that me and the family ain't do nothing for him in 4 years while he was in college, and drove off in the car that we gave him. This generation is ungrateful. Ungrateful. They are parasitic. They're parasites. All they want to do is suck the blood out of you. Take. Everything is gimme. And then when you're in the position where you can no longer give, they're done with you. In my family, there's situations, you got the elders that are sending gifts and cash and money and gifts, cash, money, birthday gifts and everything to the young people. And the young people won't even say thank you. Let me say that again. In my family. So I'm not just talking about the world. I'm going through it myself. You got young people taking Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, cash apps for college, and won't even call the people in the family and say, thank you. I got your cash app, auntie so-and-so, uncle so-and-so, cousin so-and-so, grandma ma. I got it. Thank you. They won't even say thank you. Ungrateful. And that is what we are dealing with right now, family. That's what we're dealing with. People, one of my good close friends, and I don't want to say his name because you know who he is. I don't want to say his name, but his mom had passed some months ago. And his sister, he didn't tell me this, his sister shared with me, I think between it was like 3 or 4 siblings, and they had maybe like 7 or 8 children. They had 7 or 8 children between like the 3 siblings, right? And their mother was in the hospital for 100 days. They kept telling the grandchildren, come see mama, come see mama, come see mama. They begged her. Right, Night Rider. Right, Night Rider, as if you owe them something. Right. They begged their children. Man, you got to go see mama. Do you know when this woman was on her deathbed, she was in the hospital for 100 days. So I'm probably giving this away for some of y'all who know who was recently happening. But she was in the hospital for 100 days. And the grandchildren showed up the night before she transitioned. And her daughter whispered to her, Mama, all of your grandchildren are here. And she looked at her daughter and she said, they ought to be, and turned her face. Turned her face. And then by 3 a.m., I think the children were there around 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that. And around 3 or 4 a.m., this woman transitioned. This woman gave so much to her children and her family. And so those children should have stepped up. And I'm not just saying this from experience. I've been there and done that. My auntie will tell you, she's in the chat, when my grandmother was on her deathbed from February 2005 to July February 23rd, 2005 to February 23rd, 26th of 2005 to July the 23rd, when we buried her. We were at the grandchildren, we showed up. Our generation showed up. We were there. We were sleeping in the family waiting rooms. I was going from school to work to back at the hospital. My life for those 5 months became going to see my grandmother and being at her bedside. So I'm not just throwing rocks, family. I'm not just throwing rocks. I walk it how I talk it. At least I try to. That woman transitioned and her children wasn't around her. But it's not just that woman. It's a lot of men and women that I can tell you. Grandchildren gone. Could care less. They don't value family anymore. They don't value community anymore. It's about me, 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 me. That's it. Me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and I. And so we're seeing the results, family, of, first of all, the breakdown of the family. That contributes to it. This miseducation contributes to it. Cultural misorientation contributes to it. The dominant culture that is Eurocentric and individualistic contributes heavily to it. The music, the media, all of this stuff contributes to the morals and values that our children are operating with nowadays. And I'm at a point, I'm just wondering, what will correct this? Like, what must be done to correct this? Because our young people are ungrateful. They don't care. Why do you think they don't even care about life? You're talking about ungrateful when it comes to family. They ungrateful. They don't even care about their lives. They're not even grateful for their lives. When I get up every morning, and you all might say, Dr. Maat, this might be TMI. When I get up in the morning and I take my shower, family, I have a shout session in the bathroom. I have a shout session while I'm in the shower washing up. The first thing I do is I give thanks and I give praise that I woke up. I give thanks and I give praise that I woke up. And woke up in my right mind, woke up with my limbs, woke up in good health, woke up in good spirit, because some people are in the morgue, right? Some people didn't wake up. Some people woke up and they're in the hospital. Some people woke up and they're dying and they got a terminal illness. Some people woke up, they didn't have limbs. Some people woke up and they woke up and they weren't in a house. They were in a cold side alley somewhere. So when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I give thanks that I just woke up and woke up in my home. And then while I'm showering, I give thanks that I'm able to use my limbs. I give thanks that I can see, that I can hear, that I can smell. I give thanks that I'm in my right mind. I give thanks that I can talk to my aunt, talk to my mother, talk to my loved ones, call my father. I give thanks that I made it to work safely. So I have a shout session in my shower. I have a praise session when I get up in the morning, and I give thanks. I'm grateful. Because it didn't have to happen. It couldn't have happened. I could have woke up in a jail cell. I could have been dead. Grateful. And let me share something with you, family. In 2001, my Baba Say Cool out of Pennsylvania, my Baba Lau, when my Baba Lau divined for me, He divined. For those who know, I got initiated in the E5. And when he divined, you know what he said? He said it came back that E5 said your name should be Moyo Suri. I am grateful for my blessings. I almost fell out, family. I got initiated November 2021. I got initiated in November 2021. So sometimes you'll see me wear my Aleke beads and you'll see that. But when he divined, it came back. He said, Moyo Suri, Moyo Suri. He said, that's what keeps coming to me. I'm grateful for my blessings. And I looked at him like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Because I am. And we should all be grateful. Grateful for the sacrifices that our ancestors made for us. All of our freedom fighters. You got young people running around here disrespecting Dr. King. Oh, he was a woman. He cheated on. He did this. He calling them all kinds of names, disrespecting Malcolm X. I said, damn, you out here, you able to live in neighborhoods and able to live wherever you go. You don't even see white only signs out anymore because of people like Dr. King and Ella Baker and those civil rights martyrs, the Black Power movement. You're able to open up black-owned businesses. You got legislation that'll permit us to do certain things. You're just ungrateful. These young people talk, I ain't my ancestors. My ancestors were weak. My ancestors bashing our ancestors, bashing our freedom fighters. Your whole reality, I tell them all the time, your whole reality would be different had it not been for the blood, the sweat, and the sacrifices of our ancestors. So you should be grateful. Grateful. Family, take a moment out, thumb up the video, subscribe to the channel. I see the Queen Mother, Amina's in the building. She says, welcome. Please like, subscribe, and share with the world. So thumb up the video. Let's share, family. Let's share. And I'm getting ready to drop the link right now in the chat. I want you all to come in. I got it off my chest. I got it off my chest, family. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Okay. And I want you to get it off your chest. What are your views on this generation? This is the most ungrateful generation I see yet. Disrespect the elders, disrespect the ancestors, disrespect the elders, disrespect the parents, disrespect the grandparents. Ungrateful. Ungrateful. And so while you all are coming in, what I'm going to do is play this. I'm going to play one of my favorite songs. And yes, it is a gospel song. Yes, it is a gospel song. But for me, when I listen to music, I know y'all say you subscribe to EFI and you talking about you listen to gospel music. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love gospel music. I grew up on it. And for me, family, it just has a meaning when I listen to it. So when I listen to this song, Grateful, and he's talking about God and he mentions Jesus and stuff like that. But when I hear it, I'm grateful to the creator. I'm grateful to all of those ancestors right now who are in the Orun, who are in the Duat. Some of you all may say heavens, but I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for the ancestors who are still amongst us. And you might say, ancestors still amongst us? Yeah. An ancestor is just one who precedes you, and they're not always in the Orun, right? So I'm grateful for the ancestors in the Orun, and I'm grateful for the ancestors that are still here amongst us. So when I hear him talk about grateful, I'm thinking about grateful for the creator, grateful to the creator, grateful for our ancestors, grateful for my family, grateful for everybody who poured into me, grateful for all of you in the chat. That's what I hear when I listen to it. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Family. And while I'm listening to this, while we're listening to this, family, I want you to, while we're listening to this, hold on. I want you to think about it. Listen to this, is one of my favorite songs, but I want you to hear it and come on and click the link. Click the link, family. I want to hear from you. Click the link. All right, family. That's my favorite gospel song. Just being grateful. 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 I see the Queen Mother lay. I always say it, lay low. I want to say lie low so bad, but it's lay low. Peace and love to you, lay low, Queen Mother. How are you? And I see Brother 100 Black, Rick Ryok L. I always mess it up, but I see Baba's in the building. I got you, Baba. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic to lay low, lay love, lay low, love. My queen, one of my queen mothers. You got the mic, Queen. I'm all over the place. Peace and love to you, Queen. How are you?
Love to you, love to you. I'm doing well, thank you. My last message to you was you're always on point. Like you always seem to just be right where I'm at. I want to
Mm.
share. I want to share something. So
Mm-hmm.
earlier this afternoon, I actually had a conversation with my daughter about this very topic, right?
Wow.
And it's amazing because we were kind of dissecting, what we felt was, potentially the issue or the reason why we're seeing this type of thing, and you ask the question like, what is it that we can do? I want to share. A personal experience that I've
Mm.
recently had. I'm a mother of three daughters.
Mm.
All of them are adults at now. My youngest is 27. She just turned 27 in March. I offered to share in a birthday party experience because she said she never had a birthday party that she can remember. So I said, okay, cool. Let's do a birthday party for you. My contribution will be I'm going to provide your table decorations, and I'm going to get your birthday cake.
That was
We're
beautiful.
gonna we're gonna have a skating party. So she said, okay, cool. Uh, cut to the chase. The skating party ended up where I left, and the reason why I left was because my daughter expected for me to stay in the parking lot and greet her guests as they came, to give them, um, we had like gift packs. And so she wanted me to give them items out of the gift packs because there were some items that they couldn't take into the skating rink. So she sent a young lady outside whom my daughter doesn't know. She knows this young lady through the internet, okay, through
Mm.
social media.
Mm.
She sent the young lady out to me, and the young lady says, your daughter told me to come out and get such and such from you. And my initial response was, wow. I said, no, she didn't. And she was like, yeah. And so, me, recognizing this is her birthday, I wanted her to have a good, experience or whatever. I was already outside in my car taking some of the items out of her party gifts so that I could bring them inside so that she could still have the experience, right? So what I did was is I asked the young lady to hold the bag. And so while I was still taking stuff out and she was holding the bag, another young lady walked up who was my daughter's best friend. And she said, hi, mom. Hi, gave me a hug, and, we greeted each other. And while we were standing there talking, the young lady who had the bag, she walked away. Um, so I recognized that I no longer have a bag to put anything in. So we start following the young lady into the skating rink. The young lady says to my daughter, who doesn't know that we're following behind her, um, your mom, she was very rude. Why the fuck you give me this? No, oh no, excuse me. No, the fuck she didn't. Excuse me. I won't say that again. But that was what she said. Um,
Wow.
and I said to the young lady, I said, why would you come into the skating rink and tell that lie? And my daughter instantly started yelling at me and screaming at me, right? Mom, that. And so I sat there for a moment and I thought about it. And I said to my daughter, I said, you know what? It makes sense that she would feel comfortable enough to come to you with this because of your reaction. And I
Mm-hmm.
left.
Mm-hmm.
I left
Mm-hmm.
it alone, right? So I said all of this to say that a lot of what we come with, this is what my daughter and I, who were talking on the phone, what we come to summarize is a lot of what we're seeing happening is the need for social validation from, you know, certain you know, individuals or whatever, whether they be individuals whom they have, you know, a contact with, or, you know, an emotional bond with, or whatever it is. It's just like a validation type thing.
Mhm,
um,
mhm,
and,
mhm.
and if we're not, you know, paying attention to, and this is the biggest point that I like to point out, is that there's a constant, every generation, there's a constant attack on our young adults, and to separate us from those who have had experience, your older adults, and to sway the mindset and the mentalities, and to keep us, you know, at each other. And
Absolutely.
I heard Dr. Neely Fuller state that, um, you know, when you look at it, it's like those who are kind of like prisoners of war, like you mentioned that before. If we're
Mhm.
like prisoners of war, or we in some type of like greater confinement, we'll fight each other, right? And the reason why we fight each other, he said, is because we're too weak. So I think about this. The weakness to me is coming from us not paying attention to what it is that we're feeding ourselves. And you've mentioned that too, in what you were talking about.
Right.
What it is that, you know, and it comes in different forms. It's the, you know, the people that you connect yourself with, the foods that you eat, the things that you listen to. You played a great piece of music, you know, just to be grateful for the things that, you know, you do have. And that being the biggest thing that binds us is relationship. we
Mm,
have built
mm.
we have built our support systems as a people, as, you know, melanated people, our support systems, and that comes through our relationships. So if there's a constant attack on our relationships and keeping us at each other and fighting each other or at war, right? Recognize that as long as we're participating in that, we're going to get weaker, and
Mm,
we're going to get weaker
mhm.
until the point where we've been, you know, overcome. But the thing about it is, and this is the one thing that I know, if we allow ourselves and look at it from the point that we're always like under attack because of the greatness that we are, right? Let's come out of confinement. Let's create a resolution where, you know, our young adults see us and we see them as helpmeets. You know, let all our efforts and, you know, uh be more geared towards us, you know, staying away from the bullshit tactics that are happening. Again,
Mhm,
I curse.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Staying away from the tactics that are against us, to divide the family, to divide. I saw somebody say it in the comments. They got us, parents, children, aunts and uncles, everybody. They got us all against each other, and it breaks down our foundation. If
It
we don't
does.
have a foundation, we don't have trust. We our values are stripped away, and hence our culture is taken away.
That's right.
And then keeping in mind too, our young adults are looking at these entertainers that you mentioned. You know what I'm saying? And these entertainers, like Little Bow Wow, and you know, um, whoever it was, those entertainers who have that entitlement mentality, and they're saying that to our kids, like, you should feel like this, like your mama and daddy should have did this. Well, you all need to, you know, be mindful of where it is that we all come from,
Come on.
generation to generation to
Come on.
generation. Like what was poured into us
That's right.
from, you know, those times, and what it is that we've come to understand. My generation, I was taught how to survive.
Mm.
And that's what I can teach you. That's what I can tell you how to do. I know how to survive. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Whereas
Mm.
this next generation, they have technology, they have information, and they're learning. We
Mm.
need to take all of these tools from these different generations, all of these things, this information that we know, and pull it together instead of fighting against each other with it.
Mm.
That's my thing. Real, I say it all the time whenever I come up. Real relationships, not this reaction, reactionary stuff that we're doing. It's we gotta be intentional. We gotta start loving on each other. Let's get back to the basics. I grew up in a home where, in a family where we shared experiences, we shared conversations. I do Sunday solitude Sunday dinner initiatives because that's what that was one of the values that was instilled into me. Sunday
Mm-hmm.
dinner
Yep.
with my
Sunday dinners.
family
Yep.
was a,
Mm-hmm.
was a huge thing. You know what I'm saying? So I land my plane because I'll go on and on. This is my topic. I mean,
No,
this is
I
where
want
my
you to go. I'm listening to you because I'm sitting over here. I'm got to. As soon as you finish talking, I'm hitting the bomb because you just dropped jewels at the jewels at the jewels at the jewels at the jewels. Oh my
Dr.
goodness.
Mott, when I tell you this is where my passion lies, is about getting us back into a space where we see each other for the beauty that we are, and we start uplifting each other and supporting each other so that, you know, we don't have this fighting and this because I remember a time when it wasn't, right? Although there are other things that, might have been missed at the time, it's because my parents didn't know. It's because, they lacked a certain guidance. Well,
Right.
now we're here in a time where we have the ability to hone in on certain things and understand, possible shortfalls or whatever. But let's not make that the point of what we focus on. Let's
Right.
focus on those things that, got us by and we were able to accomplish things, from. And I, we got to just redirect our efforts, redirect our focuses, and redirect our energy towards what is good within us, as opposed to all these different arguments. And I love you for what you said, and I agree with you. But let's look at the whys. Let's find out the whys. I would like to build a bridge to these young adults who feel a certain kind of way, because I, again, reading the comments, I saw in the comments, well, it was the parents and it's what they left behind. And I have to say that's not true. That's not true, because I know what I poured into my children, which was time, attention, effort,
Mm-hmm.
focus. I was intentional. My children don't have debt. I did parent plus loans so that they wouldn't have student loan debt. Like
Wow.
I went through
Wow.
all of that stuff to make sure my daughter
Wow.
went to a private college for 3.5 years, and then she decided I don't want to go no more.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So
Mm.
it's like it's what's being poured into them. I just have to say that it's where their focuses are. A lot of our young adults are walking around staring at their cell phone
Oh, yeah, I
99%
talked about
of the
that. I
day.
talked about that. Yeah, I talked about. I listed
And
about 5 contributing factors to this, to what
mhm.
we see. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I just feel like that's what it is. We need to recognize how and where we're being attacked and counterattack. Take action in that way. And I want the young adults to know that we love you. That's
absolutely.
that's the biggest thing you need to understand and recognize, is that everything that we've done, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for people like that are on this live, right? On this chat. The things that we've done out of genuine love, care, and concern, and the desire for you to have more than what we had, or you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And meet us halfway. Meet
Absolutely. And
us
I think
halfway.
and I think Layla, that we need to also, and maybe we could do this on another broadcast, define for the young people what is love. I don't think that some of them really understand what love is. So they
I
think they're
agree.
friends and their friends sliding them some drugs or sliding them sex or whatever. This is love over here. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And don't really they have a misconception of what love is. So you know what I mean? Like, so I think that will be a great topic to talk about what is love. Because a lot of people think love is the butterflies that you get in your stomach when somebody comes into the room, and that's
No,
so they
it,
think that
it's more to it
that's
than
love.
that.
It is more exactly, and so
Mm-hmm. I agree
I
with
think
you.
these young people need to understand what love is and what love is not. I think the dominant society has defined for them what love is, and they're operating with that definition of love. And that definition of love is rooted in materialism,
Correct.
is rooted in feeling good, right? Not being good,
Mm-hmm.
but feeling good in materialism and even lust. And so anyway,
So when you
just
when you think about that, and I just want to interject right here. When you think about that, think about the generation that we're talking about. They grew up on likes and it's the validation factor, right? I
absolutely.
mean, if you look at that, that's just my perspective. But
Oh,
again,
absolutely, absolutely. They absolutely. So
yeah,
social
I want to
validation.
give you
Absolutely.
I want to give you validation in real life. That's what I want to give to you.
Come
I
on.
want you to know how much and that your elders, they love you, and they did the things that they did out of protection and wanting to guide you from the experience and the information that they had at the time.
Absolutely.
So
Oh,
that's that.
absolutely.
I
Oh,
love you.
I love you too. Let me drop this bomb for you. I got to pass the mic to 100 Black. Got to pass the mic to Baba. But thank you so much, Queen Mother, for sliding through. Appreciate it. She always come through with the fire. I always enjoy talking to that sister and chopping it up with her. Go ahead, unmute your mic, Baba. You got the floor. Go ahead and speak your mind. I'm all ears. Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Unmute. All right. Check it out. Now, first I just want to say, it's nice seeing your beautiful face. And
Oh,
I just want to add a little bit to what the sister said there, validation. Um, so much we can say. Okay, with my own experience, one of the things I would say is because I'm to myself a lot. And the black community has held so many secrets. That's one thing. Okay,
mm,
we hold secrets that shouldn't be secrets.
mm,
You know, beginning on, say, the parishes and plantations,
mm,
because for the most part we had embarrassing experiences. Okay, so coming out of those experiences, we move on to where we feel free to kind of like do the things that we desire to do, but the secrets are still held for the most part. But then with those secrets, there are things that still go on the parishes. Okay,
mm, mm,
now jump into here. Let's put it this way. Just keep that in mind. Um, Beginning in hip hop, true hip hop, that was respectable hip hop, um, to a genre that derived from hip hop is not true hip hop. Um, Youngsters started to see other youngsters, and we don't even have to name names, but we can begin with NWA. I'm just going to put it that way.
Oh
Maybe
yeah, I
just
remember.
before that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Yeah, I
NWA.
danced off of it. I partied off of it. I had my boys. We went out there. We had a good time. But when you look back at it, you see how it actually destroyed, okay, the mentalities of a lot of us and say the youth coming up, the narratives, and then youth begin to see. Now I was like 32, so I was coming out of that age of being dictated to or the peer pressures because I could think for myself. But as youngsters heard this and then moved on to say younger people um, acquiring material things and showing it and different things like that. Okay. Um, some of the younger ones even got, say, more stiff-headed and more rebellious toward the parents, for an example, because they see what their age group is doing. Mama, how come you don't have that? They got this, but you don't have that. you can't tell me nothing.
Mm.
Okay, unless
Mm.
you're out there pimping, unless you're out there selling drugs, or they're trying to match with what they got, with what the icons got. Say for an example, that's just a little bit right there to take away. Like I said, a lot of times I can write it down better than I can speak it. You know.
I'm with you. I'm listening to you. I'm listening
But
to
now
you.
you take it, like I said, I have a lot of respect for a few of the icons that came out because they're pretty much in that mode, you know, because you have generics that you have to follow by in order to make that money. And if you know how to do it better than the other ones, you're gonna make more money. But you take like I have a lot of respect for, say, Percy. I'm just gonna say Percy, and
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
Percy,
Mm-hmm.
and I have some respect for Boosie, although he's constantly getting in something. You know what
He
I'm
always,
saying?
Boosie
He always
always
getting
hit.
into something. I
Boosie
love him.
always
See, I
hit.
love my Southern brothers because I'm from the Bay, and everybody here, every black person from the Bay is from the South. Okay, when I spend time down south, I begin to realize how some of the hardest, some of the most dope selling dudes and people were some of the most loving people in the world. Okay, but see, they weren't into the. See, we still living in the era to where there was respect. But see, that money, once the youngsters start getting into that, they started getting more violent. Okay, and start having things. So now you still got peers that are starting to follow along with this. Because
That's
even when
right.
you start to check out the history behind what's that cat's name? Trying to think what he's up in New York. Uh, but he's in the pen right now. A lot of people, a lot of youngsters following him. Youngsters wanted to have things. They're always influenced.
You talking about Young Thug
No,
with
not
the
you see Young
The
Thug, not
Rico
Young
Chase?
Thug. That's something. That's something else. That's something
Okay,
totally
okay,
else.
okay,
I'm talking
okay.
about OGs. I'm talking about OGs back in like running things. Say during the time of what they call him Freeway was
Oh yeah,
running.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
now him, let's say people like that. See, they in so many cases, these people have good intent,
right.
but the results are wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
See, now youngsters start to see this influence. See, things are always going to attract us for the most part, things and material things. So youngsters see this, and the parents are working jobs, and they're not having these things that are flashy. So the youngsters start to lose respect.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
moving on, moving on to that point. See, the value, like this young lady said that was just on here, the value principle, the values start to shift from morality and appreciation to just acquiring things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
see, now at a point now, those things no longer matter. They're kind of like in this type of a mind shift because they're hearing little bits of pieces of what type of situation we're in this situation that we're in, this world situation. And things are not so good. Parents losing jobs, parents on food stamps, parents on whatever they can do to make it. And they're having to make it for themselves to a certain degree. But from that point right there, what's going to take is like the lady said, is to realize what values are
That's right.
and have to learn to sacrifice a lot of things in order to keep your morality and keep your soul and spirit together, because that's what's going to make the difference. Okay, because when it's all over, you don't want to leave energy here that's going to cause um, other youngsters, the ones that's coming up, to do the same thing you did and worse. Because really, right now, when you look online, there's always something happening. In Texas, not long ago, day, maybe a few hours ago, there's been people killed again. Okay, this is just recent. So there's something going on that we have to pay attention to within our race to realize that we don't belong in a system of acquisition, material acquisition like that. Okay, we need to come together and we need to combine what we're doing. So I just want to add that because it's really hurting. Like I say, now my family, so like my family, for an example, now we were talking about family matters too. Hope it doesn't sound like I'm hollering because I
No, go
am.
ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
listening.
But anyway, say my family. Um, 18 boys, no, excuse me, 18 people on the plantation, 9 boys, 9 girls. Okay, so now that's beyond my grandfather being enslaved. Okay, he finally ended up getting 100 and some odd acres. So you have 9 boys, you have 9 girls.
Right.
For an example, you cannot give all of these children. Now we are a family, but you can't give all these children the balanced attention that they need. because you're in slavery. Okay, you're coming out of that. What you need these children for is what you learn to do. For an example, like I say, I'm not beating down my granddad. Like you say, he did his the best he possibly can, but I learned something. The less children we have, the more time and value that we can spend on these kids.
Well, that's true.
Okay,
That's true.
so yeah. So I mean, it's like, okay, now with that being said, right there, what I'm saying is we have to learn from the experience of the past. We have to learn from the experiences of the past. Now, how we deal with the youngsters now, they have to get away from choices on the phone, on their cell phones. For an example, if you're not studying something on the cell phone, you spend so much time on the entertainment, you spend so much time on studying, okay, because the cell phones can be fruitful. But then again, if you're on there and you're basically doing a lot of junk stuff, it's not going to help you. I mean, really, it's like, how do you really even give any points to the youngsters to come up? I don't know. And I rested there. I mean, I just hope I gave you something to think about,
Give
but
me a lot to think about.
it's just it's really crazy. Now, I say for example, like I told you, I'm going to be leaving here sooner or later. It's not something I want to do, but I see the situation and I'm going to have to do it. I'm trying to be here as long as I possibly can. But I'm not leaving here just to leave here. I'm leaving here to build something, okay, with the time that I have left. Now, the reason why I take it back to the South is that's where we come from for the most part. And I like heat. So, I mean, I like hot weather. I'm not into cold weather.
I'm the same way. I like it. Well, but we coastal babies.
Yeah, I know you coastal.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're coastal babies.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
snatched us off for the west and central coast. They snatched us along the coast. So up and
right.
down the Guinea coast, the upper Lord. Yeah, so all of us are cold. We're beach babies anyway. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
like the
we
heat.
like that heat,
We like the heat.
Yeah. So, I hope to do something there with the time. I don't really look at time. I'll be 60 plus. I'll put it that way.
All right.
But I don't really look at my age time. Just the day ago or so, my coming age was like flashing. You're getting there, you're getting there. I'm like, you don't trip off of that. You're getting there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're getting there. That can mean anything, But it's just that I wish the best. And I'm not in, see, I'm in an area where it's pretty much mostly white and maybe other groups. And there's a few black here. Okay. But I'm also the type of person, I'm not going to reject assisting you if I can assist you, regardless of what color you are, because this is where I'm at now. But when I go back that way, I hope to have more to do with black people to add to what I can do. Now, I like gardening. I like to open up gardening, some type of small farming. I like to do those type of things. Okay, that's basic. Then there's other talents and other gifts that I have that I'd like to actually expose and help them with to let them know. Because once again, like I say, the times are tricky. You don't know what's going to befall. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
But I'm learning other things. But as far as the youth, there's a science. There's a science that they forced on us that they didn't force. It's kind of like a science that they eased in on us over the last, let's just say 100 and some odd years, beginning with Black Wall Street, okay? Because we were having things, they destroyed that. We had to go right back to do what we had to do, okay? So that's around that era right there. From that science to now, then you happen to have feminism. That broke up the black family bad, okay? Because feminism involved a lot of materialism, okay, and selfishness, okay, along with that. Brought a lot of frustration in the families, So I know somebody else wants to come on, so I'm just going to leave that like that. I just wanted to say something to you, just acknowledge you. That's all it is.
No, Baba, as always, I appreciate your words. I appreciate you coming on. We actually got a warrior backstage, African in Detroit. This is a young, brilliant, young Asafo warrior, very intelligent,
Okay.
Baba. So you may want to kick back and listen to it. And I'm glad that he joined the panel because he's a youth. And so,
I'm listening.
just giving the youth a platform to speak. And
Yeah,
so,
they gotta have it.
brother,
They gotta have it.
brother African in Detroit, go ahead and unmute your mic, brother, and speak your mind.
How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing all right, warrior. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How you
Good,
doing,
good, good.
Baba?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fine. Uh, I wanted to come on and I agree with everything and a lot that y'all saying, but I did want to give a bit of pushback because you all did speak about individualism, and I feel like we speak about the systematic oppression of our people, and we understand that this trauma is generational, and if the younger generation are uh, excluding or sentiments that it is problems in the family, they may be correct, but their anger might be pointed at the wrong people. And I feel like that may be the elders' point of pointing them into the right direction of where to direct that anger and use it into a right position, instead of us thinking that because it's the same thing that happened in the generation before that happened in this generation, because a lot of y'all generation, a lot of them would say the same things that you are saying right now. So that's the only thing that wanted to give a little
Ah, young
pushback
boy,
on.
young boy, they ain't say that. You heard my auntie. My aunties was in the building, so you ain't hear them say I was ungrateful. So
Well,
I
not
can't say,
you in
yeah, yeah,
general,
yeah.
but I'm
But
saying that that's why I'm giving a pushback, because I'm trying to tell y'all that especially black nationalists and pan-African people always people African, if we go off Dr. Amos Wilson thought process, most of us are out of our mind.
oh, I agree. I
And
agree. Yeah,
the
I
people
agree.
who are acting correctly like you are in a minority of Africans.
That is true.
And so
That is true.
that's the only thing that I'm saying, that not everybody, even uh in the younger generation or the older generation, are acting in the interest of our greater community, even just
Mm,
acting like every day. And so if we
mm.
sit here and like you just said that every day that we got children in the public food system, our children don't you don't just raise your children, society raises your children too. Like Dr.
Mhm,
Amos
mhm,
Wilson talked on that.
mhm.
It's not just we don't have any institutions to make sure that the relationship of the elder generation and the younger generation is strong and facilitated
Mhm,
into our
mhm.
liberation. And so we rely on white institutions, and so obviously it's going to grow apart. Who teaching our children? If they're going to be if they're becoming Eurocentric, the children didn't choose to integrate. And so,
Right, right,
and
right.
that's what I'm saying. And the adults, and even the people, a lot of the people out today didn't choose to integrate. And so that's what I'm saying. If it's systematic, just picking out one generation and not point, even the younger generation is pointing out the older generation, the older generation looking at the younger generation, but neither one of those are the oppressor and the people who causing the situation, is what I'm saying.
No, no, no. I hear what you're saying, but it's not just pointing out one generation. That's a logical fallacy. So if you read the title, it says the most ungrateful generation yet. It didn't say, this is the only generation or this is this generation. So I think, young warrior, you should probably go back and listen to the discussion from the beginning, because you to understand the talking points. I don't know how long have you been listening. Did you jump on when I got on, or did you jump on like 20 minutes ago?
Well, I was jumping in and out, but I wasn't really trying to push back on like specifically you, Dr. Ma, but I was just going off because I was listening to every other elder talking too. So I was just saying in
Oh,
general,
okay, gotcha. I got you.
as a community, because I was just saying that because it's like in general, I wasn't speaking just towards you, Doctor. That's why, but
Oh yeah, because I'm about to say,
I
because
was
some of the
just
stuff that you
saying,
said, I'm like,
yeah,
nah, that wasn't what I said. So
no,
I
no,
just I was trying to
of
figure
course.
out like, yeah, I
No,
wasn't
I
saying that.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. This wasn't that too. I was just speaking as in the wider community. If we if we looking towards solutions, then because I was going to say that a lot of y'all comments and like y'all stories are true, but it's not always the same for the wider community, for the majority of everybody, is what all I was saying. And I was just saying that if we want to bring these discussions forward, maybe we should facilitate or create something, institution, so those the gap will be but I mean the discussions between the elders and us will be a stronger relationship, because obviously we missing information that y'all have. And if it's not getting transferred, then the problem isn't getting finished by us by the younger generation still not talking to y'all is what I'm saying. It's still we still doesn't have an institution to
to to
facilitate
to
the relationship.
facilitate that relationship. No, absolutely. I think Queen Mother laid low wants to say something. Queen Mother, you got to connect your devices. I'm trying to add you, but I can't add you to the stream because your device is okay. There she is. I think she wanted to. Did you want to respond to him, Queen Mother? Is that why you wanted to jump back on, or
I did
okay,
because
okay.
I'm hearing him. I'm hearing what he's uplifting. And um with your permission, Dr. Maat, I would like to uplift my passion and what I feel speaks to what the young king is asking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my organization is called Solitude, Solid, right? And so my whole thought process is that we actually create exactly what this gentleman is speaking of. We create I call them opportunity platforms because of the simple fact that it allows us to create just that, all types of opportunities to be in proximity with one another and to have conversations with young adults like this young man who is asking, who is saying, we don't have a foundation for this. It allows the elders to come into spaces and to pour into them. I just feel like the nuance that we grew up in, I'm a 70s baby. The nuance that I grew up in, I don't see that support system everywhere. I'm not saying it doesn't exist
Right.
because I know that it does exist, right? But there are some who are not receiving it. And this was my contribution to helping us to recreate, that era that we had once before. um there's a lot of young I'm sorry, there's a lot of adults, young, and I don't, what is your name, B? There's a lot of adults like myself who want to build that bridge, who want to be able to reconnect with you and hear exactly what it is that you need, what it is that kept us from I guess kind of the relationship, the bond kept us from not keeping that. Innately, we are a communal people innately, and I feel as though uh a lot of us aren't saying it out loud, but we're all, because we're kind of coming up in these different platforms and having these conversations. My feeling is that we're all kind of longing for getting back to that space. And so solitude is my contribution to us try investing in ourselves, investing in our community, in our culture, and building that, recreating that nuance, and
Mm-hmm.
making it even greater, because there's a lot of things that we didn't know before that we know now, you know and we can tackle these issues, these problems, these scenarios. And there was one word that I learned recently, the actual definition for, and it was educate. And I'm not going to say the word that the way it's supposed to be pronounced, but the meaning was to pull out what is within, right? So I just feel like we've been kind of going about things a little bit backwards, and trying to pour into and not allow you to also pull out, or bring out what is also innately inside of you. And we just need to come together and build that, right? I'm not the
Mm-hmm.
spokesperson, as you can see, but if you feel the passion and understand where it's coming from a place of love and a place of understanding that somewhere as a people, we lost a certain nuance that is us, and we need to make sure that it's not completely gone. We need to reel it back in, and that's all I wanted to say, is that we're here and we're doing that, and we're wanting to do that, and we need you guys to meet us halfway.
I love it. I
That's
love it. No, I love it. So I like young brother African in Detroit. So you heard her. She said that she has an organization that is doing just what you suggested. And so, got to support these
Um,
organizations that we have. But go ahead.
I just wanted to say to the sister, I do appreciate everybody and what you are saying. I don't disagree. I was just I wanted y'all to know, like, I have my mother, my father, my grandparents around that support system. But I just want y'all to know that at my age, I'm 23 years old this year. I know many people my age and younger who don't have nobody, who out here with no support system. And so that's why I'm saying this. That's
Absolutely,
all.
absolutely,
You feel me? And
absolutely.
I'm just bringing that to y'all because it's a lot of people. Like, I listen to Unc sometime, and he'll tell you it's a lot of people who just because a lot of people older, they don't have your best opinion, and I know y'all
That's a
do have
fact. That's a fact.
y'all are have the best interests of African people in mind. So
That's a fact, though.
I just wanted to bring that to the point that even though that y'all are building some of the system, as a people, we are oppressed people, and so we know that we don't have the resources and stretch to get everybody right now. So I was just bringing it to the front that the institutions are, like you said, she building one right now, but I was just saying that in general, we never had those intergenerational things to keep us linked, that's
Yeah,
continuing right now. Those
yeah.
institutions were destroyed and things like that, and like y'all helping it right now. And so,
No,
but
no.
I was just trying to bring some more discussion to the table.
No, I agree. I agree 1,000% with you, and that's why during the talk, that's why I asked you, did you hear all of what I said, because I talked about the breakdown of the family, and how things happen. Like, think about how in certain families, even I'm thinking about my father's side of the family. How, like, the grandma had passed. Grandma, everybody. Big Mama's house was where everybody would come. So as Sister Laylo stated earlier, she talked about Sunday dinners, and so we will all go over there. I'm talking about grandma's house. You're all over there. Everybody's chilling. You meeting with uncles, aunts. You seeing cousins. Like you said, brother African in Detroit, that intergenerational bonding time, right? But then on my father's side, my grandmother, she passed in 1984. When she passed, the whole family fell apart. So siblings went their way. They raised their children. Their children aren't close. None of the cousins on my father's side aren't close. And so it was a breakdown. So sometimes the breakdown in the family isn't always the man and the woman get divorced. Sometimes the breakdown in the family occurs when someone passes or someone transitions, and this was the person who was kind of like the glue, right, and kept in contact with everybody, or they would host all of the family. And I'm speaking, I know you're talking about community institutions, but a family institution is a subset of that, right? So it's like that's the foundation of the family, the community institutions. So sometimes the breakdown occurs when people transition, and this person was the glue, and they would get with that person, and when that person transitions, then you have nobody doing it. So I talked about how the breakdown in the intergenerate between the generations also happens because of the breakdown within the family. And then when the families get broken down, I mean, what are communities? Communities are just networks of families, right? And so if you have families breaking down, then how does that leave the community, right? And so I talked about that earlier. And that's why, brother Africa, I asked you, I said, did you listen to some of the points that I made? Because I talked about that a little bit. I touched on it as well. But thank you so much, Baba, for coming through. Appreciate your commentary as well. Young brother, young warrior, it's always a pleasure to hear your wisdom. You're so wise for your age. And I always, when you come on and we engage, I always just get hope, and get filled with happiness and joy, knowing that we have young warriors like yourself out there on the front line. And so to the Queen Mother, Laylo Love, thank you so much for dropping through. I'm going to add one more person to the chat or to the stream. Watch, Talk, and Act. Watch, Talk, and Act. Peace and love, family. You have the mic. You have the floor. Go ahead and speak your mind.
You know, Contrary to belief, I believe we do have the resources to make changes. The problem is, it is the mindset.
Yeah.
And because we don't have the mindset to come together and make things go, that is what's destroying us. Because we have innovative inventors. As I mentioned before the other day, there's a brother who created a device to basically have free energy. There's a sister just recently, she used another form of therapy treatment for cancer using laser that doesn't destroy any of the good cells. It only focuses on the cancer. There's another brother who created a device that creates water, or should I say, it actually pulls. Um, it basically like a form of condensation that creates
Yeah.
water, and it's filtrated through a little machine, but it's clean water. So we have these things. The problem is we are not putting our minds together and actually teaching the knowledge. We aren't using STEM to teach these children and other people how to, be able to be self-autonomous. That is what is putting us in a bad bind.
So you think that that's the reason why the generations are ungrateful, or
No, the
what do
reason
you
why the
what do you
generations are ungrateful is
Yeah,
because
that's what I was trying to. That's what we were. That's what. Yeah. So we were talking about like a breakdown in the communication between the generations, and how there's disrespect, and the morals and values have changed, and so that's what we were going on. So
they're
I was trying to follow where you were going, brother.
the reason why the generations are ungrateful is because they've been taught to be consumers and not owners, and to build up their own communities regardless of what's going on with racism, things like that. We are missing the ball, period, point blank. Even though we've had a lot of things that have happened to us, we still need to what do I want to say? We need to still try to go through whatever it is that's stopping us, regardless
Mm.
of that, instead of having excuses.
So I was trying to follow your line of thought when you came on and you were talking about STEM and resources, because
Hmm.
we were talking about, basically the black family, the black community, morals and values changing, people being unappreciative of those who, our freedom fighters, people, they're our predecessors. And so I was trying to see how you were relating that to STEM, or were you kind of just targeting one thing? I don't.
No, I was just mentioning, that was in passing. But what I wanted to say, as far as the ungratefulness, we're becoming consumers and not producers. We aren't believing in us. It's the mindset that we have toward one another. You ask somebody to go to a black owned business, they'll go to a white one before they go to ours. So we aren't able to even circulate money within the community. We don't see the value in ourselves.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that's a huge part of the reason why we are ungrateful.
Mm. Mm. Well, thank you so much, Walk Talking Act. I appreciate you. I got Queen Mother BJ. She just joined the panel. Peace and love to you, Queen Mother. You have the floor. Go in and speak your mind.
Peace and love to all you guys as well. You were saying, why are they so ungrateful? We keep forgetting that now our kids are not African anymore. They're
Mm.
American.
I said it
When you
earlier.
become an American, you are individualistic, you are
Mm-hmm.
competitive, you are trying to be the king of the castle, and everyone is supposed to bow down to you. And when you have that mindset, you cannot see the tears, you cannot see the struggle of anybody else because nobody matters but me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw the entitled attitude that we've been conditioned, because this has been conditioned to our kids. I mean, because you can see what the drug um that was leashed upon us in the 80s was the final straw that pretty much devastated the family.
Mm.
And because the fear of just surviving through that, you no longer put your kids out on the street because it's not safe, because they're shooting guns or the pit bulls or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now you don't know your neighbors. Now you don't know Ray who's across the street, or know the struggle that, oh, she's catching 3 buses to get to work, or, oh, the neighbor around the corner is having problems with her car, but so and so knows how to fix cars on the side. You don't know any of that because you're
Mm.
isolated. So then
Mm.
you look at everybody as being the enemy instead of looking at this as my community.
Mm. Mm. Hold up, I gotta drop that. Said it earlier.
Yeah, because as I mentioned sometime a little while ago, all I said, the science began. This is my perspective on it. Um, as we were coming away from slavery, and we started building our own townships, there was a big strength in that. They destroyed that. We ended up pretty much have to go backward, and then we begin to come away from there and begin to work. Say, for example, pretty much everybody's living in the South, and they start moving up toward, say, New York, up toward the West. It started to get what impressively better to some degree. But then again, coming to the West, anytime you're dealing with a democratic system, whether it's New York or here or up north, then what do you have? You happen to have, excuse me, the different spells they start to throw in, like feminism and what have you. Okay, the mother and father come from the South, and they get jobs up here, and they're working together to a certain point. Say at my age, when I was younger, I didn't understand why they were breaking up. I didn't understand what they were going on. I came up with us doing things like traveling in the car. My father fixing, making cars and going different places. All of a sudden, things started happening. Only over the last years did I begin to realize how much the system had effect against the black family. Okay, to this point right here, to where we have youngsters, we have kids, or what have you, and they have a totally different mindset. And you're looking at this, you're saying, "Wow, this is really crazy." How do you talk to them? And a lot of the youngsters, really, they want to speak, they want to talk to you, they want to communicate with you, but you have to have something to say. And I was just thinking right now, centralization. We have black clubs, black organizations all over America, but everybody's doing their own thing. Okay, to centralize, we can easily say, look, we're all going to get together, we're going to read this book, and we're going to come back on the platform, we're going to talk about what we read. We're going to bring some youngsters with us, and we're going to talk about it. We have to begin somewhere in the most minute way to pull in. What do we have? We have internet, we have telephone. Those youth that don't want to come, they'll feel left out if we can get a lot of youth, plus the parents, to do one thing to where we can get together and have a forum. We have to begin somewhere.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we got to let go of the divisiveness of our culture.
Well, this is what I'm saying. We have to
mentioned all
begin.
these different groups. It's okay to have different groups, but why do my group have to be better than yours, or why do your group have to be lesser than mine?
Come on.
It's that
So the thing of,
mindset. We have to cleanse our minds because it's destroying us. My house is better than your house because my house resides in this zip code. Therefore, I'm better than you. Well, we both got a leaky roof, so
Come
what
on.
difference?
Come on. Right.
What
So
difference does it make?
you're trying to say the Joneses is in the spirit now.
Yeah.
Yep.
and that's what we need to. That's another thing that we should look at too, right? Um, we're and I heard someone say it. I think it was the gentleman speaking now. We're really quick to participate in and invest in, things that don't benefit us, right?
Right. Right.
We have all of the resources.
Yeah.
If we, came together and invested in ourselves
Mhm.
and use the accumulative resources, that's an excellent foundation.
But see, we have to invest in ourselves. But see, there's like I say, I check out when I'm quiet. I'm the bomb to myself because I think about a lot of things. But
Hmm.
terminologies which are actually spells upon us. Say, for example, no disrespect to you because I understood what you were saying. Um, ourselves, okay, ourselves. We have to centralize our thoughts to realize that we are one people. I don't care what part of the continent we came from. We're one people. Okay, once we get to a point where we can centralize what we're doing, we
Hmm.
centralize We centralize a means of wealth that's not based on every individual right this minute, but based on the future. Okay? How is that done? I'm not going to say it online. You can't say too much online because,
You ain't
like, say,
lying about that. You ain't lying about that.
look. AI, look, okay, I'm going to say something else too. This sidebar. Let's not get caught up in only listening to the black narrative and other stuff once we're done with the black narrative. Let's check out what some of these quackers saying, okay? Because they telling you something. You know why? Because you got a few black people there too, but they're privy to information but they're trying to share it. You see, so when you listen, you put all this together, you see what we need to do and what we don't need to do. And see, their divisiveness, pretty much, we might look at the average European. Well, they can be a hindrance in some way, but there's people up there. I'm talking about up there that's been there they pass their wealth, they pass their information, they pass their manipulative will on to people that they choose to do it, and it maintains. And guess what? These people don't own nothing, but they play it on us. And when we own something, that means we owe the system. Understand where I'm coming from? So breaking it down from there, what I'm saying is we have to come together and centralize in a way that we need to centralize, not be afraid of the outcome. But we have to do this now, because when it's all over, they'll know that we fought the fight. Because as long as we're divided, I guarantee an organization over here, then you get somebody coming online. Look like a doggone pastor. Okay, you listen to him for a minute. Same old squat that somebody else is saying there. He's not really saying nothing. If you listen to him, like me, say for an example, when I go on, I see the description. I listen to this person, whether black or white. As soon as you mention it, I'm fixing to go research and see where it comes from. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, or the horse that came from that horse. You see what I'm saying? So I can break it down and see what's going on. You see, so we have to watch out to what we're listening to, because we'll stop at the black narrative, but we won't research to see where it came from, the root of it. You see, for an example. But we have to get to a point. We have to get to a point to where we're researching, and what we're doing is we're centralizing. Every time I mention centralized to some people, during the, I'm just going to say the NFAC era, because it was fire then, right? Every time I mention centralization, what you mean centralization? Wait a minute. Centralization, you seen the top of a pyramid? That's central up there. We need to come together like that. And the only way we're going to do it, we need to find a fundamental way to where we built ourselves to where we're not so. And those that don't agree with it, it's only going to be the few. Let them go ahead and do what they do. But as we build this way,
I have a question. I have a question for the panel. How many of you have been in a susu?
No. What's that?
Susu Bob is when everybody put money in the pot, they pass the pot around, and each person and then you keep putting the money in the pot and you keep passing around till everybody get the pot. So some people call them susu, comes out of West Africa, some Asia they call them tontines. So yeah. So brother, I've been in a couple of them and was able to fund some.
I have as well.
Some now that can work, but the problem is, will the ones at the top let the money trickle down to the people at the bottom and continue to move up? That's my issue. So I think we can practice group economics in that manner of speaking, but that's just one way of thinking of it. That's just my opinion.
Trickle down from the top. I mean, but okay, trickle down from okay, but we got the millions that we have here. We got the crumbs. We can't put the crumbs together. What are you saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I believe that's a form of group economics, but I'm wondering if the people at the top would have enough integrity to actually let the susu work for itself. Because there's some people who do not conduct the susu correctly and are greedy and take the money.
Meaning the person who gets theirs, they take theirs and then walk away and don't contribute back to the next one.
There you go.
Oh, you're talking about. So they got another term. They got another meaning for that. I think I got what you're talking about there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Bob, basically, if you enter into a susu, you got to make sure that it's with trusted people.
Right.
You can't do it with everybody because I
It's
had you.
another.
Yeah,
It's
because it was
another.
some
I think
folks.
I heard of that. You
Yeah,
build your money to a certain point.
yeah, it was some folks. No, it was some folks, Bob, were trying to do this with apps. Queen, Sister BJ, you know what I'm talking about. People were doing this on apps and trying
Yeah.
to get folks to join, and then people was running off with the money, but they were doing this virtually, and I don't do them virtually. So I
Mhm.
do it with people that I'm, familiar with, and we all know. So yeah, and actually, my family, we were talking about doing something internally. But I'm getting ready to close out, y'all. I've been on for an hour and 45 minutes. So
I'm gonna email you, sis. I'm gonna email
Baba,
you. I
yeah,
want you to
Baba,
pay
email me.
attention here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna
email me,
email you.
Baba. Email me, Baba, and to the Queen Mothers, Sister BJ and Sister Laylo. Thank you so much for coming through. Watch Talking Act. Appreciate you. I see Brother Bakari is in the chat, but I'm getting ready to close out, brother. So I will be back tomorrow, family, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Read Book Club. We are discussing the last chapter of They Were Her Property by Dr. Stephanie E. Jones Rogers. And so even if you don't have the book, tune in. I can't even tell you how many times people say, Doc, I don't have the book. I never read the chapter. But when I tune in, hold on, Bob, I got to close out. But when I tune in, they say that they learned something. So even if you don't have if you don't have the book, you never read the chapter, still come through. Again, we are discussing the last chapter of They Were Her Property by Dr. Stephanie E. Jones Rogers, White Women as Slave Masters in the Antebellum South. Last week, we talked about I believe it was Abraham Lincoln in the Civil War. We talked about how they lied to us about like their whole narrative is like it's such a lie, man. It's crazy. The more you learn history, and the more you learn history, the more you learn is you didn't know. But it was bananas. They lied to us about the Civil War. They lied to us about Abraham Lincoln. They lied to us about white women. White women fought in the Civil War as well. They didn't fight on the battlefield, but they definitely fought to preserve slavery, because what white women found out, or what they determined, what white women determined, family, was that our enslavement was linked to their freedom. It was linked to their power, their freedom. I'm sorry, hold on, let me stop. Their wealth, their power, their freedom, their status, and their respect. Just being women who owned property. So anyway, we talked about that last week. And so this week, I believe this is like the closing chapter. So I don't know if she's going to summarize some things, or if she's going to introduce some new concepts or some new information. So make sure, family, that you tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Family, make sure that you thumb up this video, thumb it up. We had a beautiful discussion tonight. Make sure that you share this discussion. Also, family, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you will be notified. And also, family, if you subscribed already, I did hear that YouTube was unsubscribing people from my channel. So, family, make sure that you go back, check to see if you still subscribe. And if you're not subscribed, resubscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna go out with this song right here. For some reason, I'm just feeling this. I'm on this vibe right now. So I'm gonna go out with this, family. Appreciate you all tuning in. Peace